Welcome back. Lincoln currency. The 1990 Lincoln cent stands as an intriguing piece in the long and storied history of United States coinage, an unassuming 1-cent coin that carries within it layers of history, artistry, and numismatic interest that extend far beyond its face value. While it is easy to glance at this small copper-plated zinc disc and dismiss it as ordinary change, its journey from the Denver Mint to the hands of collectors around the world reveals a fascinating narrative about American culture, economics, and the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln, whose profile has graced the obverse of the cent for more than a century. The year 1990 itself occupies a distinct place in numismatic circles, reflecting both the continuing production techniques of modern coinage and the subtle variations that can make even a common coin a subject of extraordinary attention. The 1990 penny was produced at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the small D mint mark situated just below the date on the obverse side of the coin. The mint mark is more than just a letter, it is a key to understanding the coin's origin, a mark that identifies the facility responsible for its creation and provides a hint about potential variations in production. Each mint in the United States, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, has its own distinct equipment, workforce, and environmental conditions, which can subtly influence the final appearance of the coin. For collectors, the mint mark is a crucial factor in assessing rarity and value, and in some cases, coins from one mint can command significantly higher premiums than identical coins from another. The Denver Mint, established in the early 20th century, has produced billions of coins, yet within this mass production lie anomalies, errors, and specimens that rise far above the ordinary in collector significance. The obverse of the 1990 cent continues the long-standing tradition of featuring Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, whose legacy has been immortalized in this small, seemingly simple coin. Lincoln's profile was first placed on the cent in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of his birth, a design by Victor David Brenner that replaced the classic Indian head design used previously. By 1990, the design had seen some minor refinements in the relief and strike, yet the essential elements, Lincoln's dignified profile facing right, the word Liberty to the left, and the date and mint mark to the right, remained consistent. The precision of these details is remarkable, considering that the entire obverse fits comfortably within a diameter of just 19.05 millimeters. The meticulous craftsmanship required to ensure clarity of detail in mass production is often underappreciated, yet it is this very precision that allows collectors to identify minute die variations and errors that can elevate the coin's significance exponentially. Turning the coin over to the reverse, the 1990 cent features the Lincoln Memorial design, which had been in use since 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The reverse depicts the Lincoln Memorial in meticulous detail, with columns, steps, and inscriptions rendered in miniature relief. In the center of the memorial, one can even make out the tiny figure of Lincoln seated within the hall, a detail that is rarely noticed in casual handling but is a testament to the skill of the engravers and the minting process. Surrounding the memorial are the words, United States of America, and 1 cent, with the motto, E pluribus unum, positioned above. Every element carries symbolic meaning. The memorial honors Lincoln's leadership, the inscriptions reinforce national identity, and the minute figure within the memorial underscores the commitment to detail and artistry in American coinage. These design choices are not merely decorative, they are emblematic of the historical consciousness embedded in everyday objects like coins, which circulate among the populace while silently educating and reminding users of the nation's heritage. From a technical standpoint, the 1990 cent has a weight of 2.5 grams, reflecting the post-1982 composition of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating. Prior to 1982, cents were predominantly copper, but rising metal prices necessitated a change to a primarily zinc core, reducing production costs while maintaining the familiar copper appearance. The coin's diameter is 19.05 millimeters, with a thickness of 1.52 millimeters, and a reeded edge is absent, as is standard for the Lincoln cent. These specifications are important for collectors and numismatists, as deviations in weight, diameter, or composition can indicate experimental strikes, errors, or counterfeit coins. For example, a 1990 D cent weighing significantly more than 2.5 grams might indicate a copper-rich variant, which would be of particular interest due to its rarity. The balance of size, weight, and metallic composition ensures a consistent feel in everyday use while offering numismatists measurable parameters for evaluating authenticity and condition. The historical context of the 1990 D cent is also significant. The year 1990 marked the final decade of the 20th century's final decade, a period of technological and cultural transition in the United States. The economy was experiencing shifts with the early stages of globalization, and the minting of coins reflected both traditional methods and modern efficiency. Coinage during this period continued to be primarily utilitarian, yet it also served as a medium for subtle education and commemoration. Lincoln's image, for instance, continued to remind citizens of leadership, unity, and the principles of freedom, linking the contemporary circulation of the coin to historical reflection. Collectors today often view coins from this period as bridging the gap between purely historical artifacts and modern collectibles, reflecting both the continuity of American design and the subtle variances that make numismatics a complex and fascinating pursuit. Value assessment for the 1990 D cent is layered and nuanced. In general circulation, these coins are considered common, and their market value rarely exceeds face value unless they are in uncirculated or proof condition. However, the numismatic world is rife with exceptions, driven by factors such as errors, minting anomalies, and extreme rarity. Some reports claim the existence of 1990 D cents that could fetch extraordinary sums, figures in the tens of millions, even reaching claims of $90 million in hypothetical markets. These values often derive from hypothetical circumstances, such as coins containing unusual die errors, double strikes, or experimental metallic compositions that were never officially released. While such coins are exceedingly rare and have not been verified at such astronomical values, the speculation highlights the fascination that collectors and enthusiasts hold for anomalies, where a single coin can transform from everyday currency into a treasure of immense monetary and historical significance. Collectors pay particular attention to the condition or grade of the coin. Grading is performed using standards established by the Professional Coin Grading Service (PCGS) and the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation (NGC), among others, assessing factors like luster, strike quality, surface preservation, and the presence or absence of scratches, nicks, or discoloration. A 1990 D cent in mint state 65, MS65, for instance, would be significantly more valuable than a similar coin in circulated condition, reflecting the importance of meticulous handling and preservation. The grading process is both art and science, requiring trained eyes, magnification, and a keen understanding of how small imperfections affect the perception and valuation of the coin. For a coin with claimed extraordinary value, such as the $90 million specimen, grading would be critical in establishing authenticity, provenance, and market confidence. Market demand for coins like the 1990 D cent fluctuates based on broader trends in collecting, investment speculation, and public awareness of anomalies. In certain periods, heightened interest in rare pennies has led to extraordinary bidding at auctions, particularly when coins with unique characteristics are available. Factors influencing value include the historical significance of the design, the condition of the coin, and the rarity of any error or variant. For example, a hypothetical 1990 D cent struck. When collectors examine the 1990 D cent in detail, one of the first things they look for beyond basic specifications is the presence of anomalies or errors. Errors in coin production are surprisingly common, despite the precision of modern minting techniques. Each coin passes through a series of complex mechanical processes: planchet preparation, die engraving, striking, and finishing. At any stage, even a small deviation can produce a variation that, while unintended, can render a coin extraordinarily rare and desirable. For the 1990 D cent, the most commonly documented errors include doubled dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, and planchet flaws. Each type of error affects the coin differently, both visually and in terms of collector value. A double die error occurs when the die used to strike the coin has a misalignment, or double impression, resulting in the doubling of key design elements such as the date, the letters in Liberty, or parts of Lincoln's portrait. For the 1990 descent, a particularly dramatic double die could cause the date to appear blurred or repeated, creating a striking visual anomaly that immediately draws the eye. Collectors prize these examples because they are limited in number, often discovered years after initial circulation, and can command significant premiums at auction. The very possibility of such a coin existing in mint state condition fuels stories of hypothetical multi-million-dollar specimens, especially when the doubling is pronounced and highly visible. Off-center strikes are another fascinating category of error. In this case, the coin is struck slightly misaligned on the planchet, resulting in one portion of the design appearing complete, while another portion is partially missing. These coins can be instantly recognizable, often creating dramatic, almost artistic patterns where part of Lincoln's profile or the Lincoln Memorial seems truncated. The severity of the off-center strike, measured in percentage of the design displaced, has a direct impact on value. A 1990 descent with a minor off-center strike may only be worth a few dollars above face value, whereas a coin with a dramatic displacement, say over 50%, could attract collector attention and reach significantly higher prices in rare cases. Die cracks and die breaks also contribute to the allure of rare coins. During production, the dies themselves can develop small fissures due to repeated pressure and wear. When a coin is struck from a cracked die, raised lines or irregularities appear on the surface that are not part of the intended design. These subtle or sometimes pronounced features are often documented meticulously in numismatic catalogs, with rare examples bringing substantial interest. For the 1990 descent, minor die cracks might appear near the rim or across Lincoln's profile, and collectors often track these patterns to identify specific die pairs and production batches. Some die crack patterns have become so famous among collectors that they are referenced in specialized guides and auctions, further increasing their desirability and sometimes contributing to the mythos of extreme valuations. Planchet flaws, though less visually dramatic, also play a role in the numismatic appeal of a coin. During preparation, planchets may be imperfectly punched, improperly annealed, or contain small metallic impurities. These flaws can affect the coin's surface texture, color, or overall appearance. In most cases, a minor flaw has limited impact on value, but in combination with other anomalies or when exceptionally rare, it can elevate a 1990 descent to a highly sought-after status. Collectors keenly examine the texture of the coin, the evenness of the copper plating, and subtle deviations in coloration that may indicate a unique or experimental strike. Perhaps the most intriguing aspect of the 1990 descent's collector narrative is the persistent discussion around extraordinarily high valuations. Stories of a 1990 descent worth $90 million circulate widely, often tied to the possibility of a coin with a combination of rare features: flawless mint state condition, pronounced doubling, off-center strike, and unique metallic composition. While no verified sale of a 1990 descent for such an amount has occurred, the legend itself fuels fascination and inspires collectors to seek out the finest specimens. Auction houses and private sales often become arenas where the limits of value perception are tested, as bidders weigh rarity, condition, and the compelling narrative behind each coin. In this way, the 1990 descent serves as both a tangible artifact and a vessel for imagination, demonstrating how numismatic valuation is influenced as much by story as by strict empirical facts. Condition and grading remain central to understanding the 1990 descent's value spectrum. Coins are evaluated on a scale from poor P to mint state MS, with further numerical differentiations such as MS60 to MS70 indicating increasingly superior preservation. A coin in MS70 condition, often called a perfect coin, shows no visible flaws under magnification and preserves original luster, strike definition, and color. For a 1990 descent, achieving MS70 is extraordinarily rare, given the mass production and circulation exposure that even brand new coins may endure. Numismatists emphasize that the higher the grade, the greater the potential market value, especially when combined with unique errors or anomalies. In practice, only a handful of collectors worldwide may ever hold a 1990 cent approaching the highest grades, which explains the intense competition and premium pricing for top-tier specimens. Collectors also consider provenance, or the documented history of a coin's ownership, to be critical. A 1990 cent that can be traced to a renowned collection, or that has been exhibited in a major numismatic museum, carries an additional layer of prestige and, potentially, value. Provenance validates authenticity, ensures the coin has not been tampered with, and adds a narrative that enhances the appeal of the coin to serious collectors and investors. In many high-end numismatic sales, provenance can be as influential as the coin's physical condition, especially when discussing specimens claimed to be among the rarest or most valuable in the world. The 1990 cent also illustrates the fascinating intersection between numismatics and speculative investment. As stories of extreme valuations circulate, collectors may purchase coins not only for historical or aesthetic reasons but also as a hedge against other forms of investment, or as part of a diversified portfolio of rare objects. The psychological allure of owning something purportedly one-of-a-kind or potentially worth millions contributes to the ongoing demand, and it is not uncommon for speculative premiums to appear even before the coin has been formally verified at auction. This speculative element adds drama and intrigue to the hobby, turning a small penny into a focal point for larger discussions about value, rarity, and desire. The Lincoln Memorial on the reverse of the 1990 cent has also drawn attention for minute details that can differentiate coins. Careful examination under magnification may reveal variations in the spacing of columns, the depth of the relief, or the clarity of the tiny figure of Lincoln seated within the memorial. Such differences, while subtle, provide collectors with diagnostic tools to identify specific die pairs or minor production variations. In some instances, these subtle differences are enough to classify a coin as a rare variant, thereby affecting both historical interest. As we delve deeper into the story of the 1990 cent, it becomes clear that the world of coin collecting is as much about history and culture as it is about economics. Numismatics is a discipline where minute details can carry extraordinary significance, where a slight doubling of a letter, a subtle misalignment in the strike, or even the tone and luster of the metal can differentiate a common penny from one worth tens of millions. For the 1990 cent, these subtle distinctions fuel both fascination and speculation, elevating what might seem like an ordinary coin into an object of intense scrutiny and admiration. The process of identifying and verifying such rare coins is meticulous, requiring expertise, magnification, and often years of study. Experienced collectors and professional graders scrutinize every millimeter, examining the relief, the mint mark, the depth of the strike, and even microscopic imperfections in the metal. Auction houses play a pivotal role in determining the market perception of value for coins like the 1990 cent. While most specimens circulate at face value, rare examples with unique characteristics sometimes appear in high-profile auctions, attracting the attention of collectors, investors, and even media outlets. Records from past decades show that exceptional pennies, especially those with verified errors or near-perfect mint state grading, have fetched thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Although there is no verified auction record of a 1990 cent selling for $90 million, the theoretical valuation has become a touchstone in discussions of extreme rarity, inspiring debate and careful analysis. Auction descriptions often highlight the coin's condition, provenance, historical context, and any unique features that distinguish it from the millions of ordinary examples. The narrative constructed around a coin can significantly influence bidder perception, demonstrating how storytelling and marketing intertwine with the tangible qualities of the coin itself. Consider the role of provenance more closely. A coin's history of ownership is not just a curiosity, it is an essential element in assessing its credibility and market appeal. Coins previously housed in renowned private collections or featured in numismatic exhibitions carry enhanced prestige, which in turn can impact their perceived value. For the 1990 cent, provenance may include documentation of initial acquisition from a bankroll, later inclusion in a collector's set, or even expert certification from a recognized grading service. When evaluating a coin with potential multi-million-dollar significance, provenance is as critical as the coin's physical attributes. Collectors are not merely buying metal, they are acquiring a verified artifact, a piece of numismatic history with a traceable journey. Comparisons with other rare pennies further illuminate the significance of the 1990 D cent throughout U.S. history. Certain Lincoln cents have achieved legendary status due to errors, scarcity, or historical circumstances. Coins such as the 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double die, or the 1969 S double die have become cultural touchstones in numismatics, demonstrating how an ordinary denomination can transform into a prized collectible. The 1990 D cent occupies a similar niche in the modern era, particularly when considered alongside potential errors or rare uncirculated examples. While not as historically dramatic as the wartime copper cent of 1943, the 1990 D cent's fascination lies in the subtlety of modern minting and the possibility of undiscovered anomalies that could catapult a single coin into legend. Collector anecdotes illustrate the human side of the fascination with rare pennies. Stories abound of individuals who discovered an unusual 1990 D cent in loose change, sometimes recognizing an anomaly that others had overlooked. These discoveries are often life-changing for the finder, transforming an ordinary errand or transaction into a moment of excitement and potential fortune. For example, a coin might be found with an unusual doubling, a misaligned mint mark, or a unique planchet composition. The thrill of discovery, combined with the meticulous verification process through grading and authentication, adds layers of drama and engagement that go beyond monetary value. Collectors often recount these moments with reverence, emphasizing the intersection of luck, knowledge, and patience that defines the hobby. From a technical perspective, the 1990 D cent illustrates the precision and sophistication of modern coin minting. Every stage of production, from planchet preparation to die striking, is calibrated to produce consistent, high-quality coins. Yet, the very complexity of this process opens the door to occasional anomalies. Minute variations in metal composition, die wear, or mechanical alignment can result in unique specimens. Collectors meticulously measure weight, diameter, metallic content, and strike depth to detect deviations that might signal a rare variant. In some cases, experimental strikes or internal mint tests produce coins that are never released in general circulation, making surviving examples highly coveted. The 1990 D cent's post-1982 zinc composition adds another layer of technical interest, as variations in copper plating thickness or zinc purity can occasionally create unusual colorations or surface textures, further distinguishing rare coins from ordinary circulation examples. Market dynamics also play a central role in the value story of the 1990 D cent. Supply and demand principles, combined with psychological factors, create a complex landscape where the perceived rarity of a coin may drive speculative premiums. Even the rumor of a $90 million valuation influences collector behavior, encouraging meticulous searches through bank rolls, estate collections, and secondary markets. Numismatic forums and online platforms facilitate discussion, research, and verification, creating communities of enthusiasts who share insights and discoveries. This network of knowledge increases the likelihood that rare specimens will be identified, authenticated, and eventually circulated in auctions or private sales, reinforcing the narrative of extraordinary potential value. Historical context deepens appreciation for the 1990 D cent. Abraham Lincoln's enduring legacy, the cultural symbolism of the Lincoln Memorial, and the ongoing tradition of meticulous U.S. minting combine to create a coin that is simultaneously modern and historically resonant. Collectors recognize that each coin is part of a continuum, linking early 20th century Lincoln cents to contemporary specimens. This connection fosters a sense of stewardship, encouraging careful handling, grading, and preservation. The numismatic value of the 1990 D cent is inseparable from this broader historical narrative, underscoring that rare coins are not merely financial instruments but also carriers of cultural memory. Technical guides often emphasize the importance of die study in evaluating 1990 D cents. Each die used at the Denver Mint can leave subtle, identifiable marks that experts track across production batches. minute scratches, die chips, or alignment variations serve as fingerprints, allowing collectors to classify coins and detect anomalies that might indicate extreme rarity. In some instances, the discovery of a previously unrecognized die pattern can elevate the value of a 1990 D cent exponentially, particularly if the coin is in high grade and exhibits other desirable characteristics. Die study represents the intersection of science, artistry, and detective work, requiring both careful observation and historical knowledge. The fascination with extreme value coins like the hypothetical $90 million 1990 D cent also illustrates broader cultural dynamics. Rare coins occupy a unique space where economics, storytelling, and imagination intersect. The narrative of scarcity, combined with visual and historical appeal, transforms an ordinary object into an emblem of possibility. Collectors are drawn not only to tangible attributes but also to the dream of owning something unique, something that carries both historical resonance and the allure of extreme financial value. In this sense, the 1990 D cent exemplifies the dual role of coins as both practical currency and symbolic artifacts. When evaluating the 1990 D cent from the perspective of market valuation, collectors often consider multiple hypothetical scenarios to estimate what the coin could be worth under optimal conditions. For instance, a standard circulation coin, worn and handled, may only carry a value at or just above its face value, particularly if it shows signs of discoloration or minor scratches. Yet, the value landscape changes dramatically when one considers uncirculated coins, particularly those graded MS65 or higher. The meticulous preservation of luster, the absence of contact marks, and a sharp strike all contribute to premium valuations. In these scenarios, a 1990 D cent might realistically fetch anywhere from tens to hundreds of dollars among serious collectors. While these numbers are significantly lower than the speculative $90 million, they represent a practical framework grounded in observed auction results and grading standards. Adding to the intrigue are coins that exhibit multiple types of errors simultaneously. Imagine a 1990 D cent with both a pronounced double die and an off-center strike. Such a coin would be extraordinarily rare because it represents a convergence of two independent minting anomalies. The probability of such a coin occurring naturally in mass production is extremely low, and collectors often treat these examples as near mythical specimens. In the numismatic community, the presence of multiple errors on a single coin exponentially increases interest, sometimes creating conditions for extraordinary hypothetical valuations. It is this kind of speculative excitement that fuels stories of coins reaching multi-million-dollar values, even if no verified sale at such levels has ever occurred. Comparisons with other modern pennies further illustrate the significance of the 1990 D cent coins, such as the 1983 double die or the 1995 W penny, which were produced in limited quantities at the West Point Mint, have become iconic among collectors. These coins demonstrate that even in the modern era, with billions of coins struck annually, the careful study of minting anomalies can reveal exceptional specimens. By placing the 1990 D cent within this context, collectors can appreciate both the scale of production and the rare moments when something unusual emerges. The combination of rarity, condition, and historical narrative is what drives the fascination and speculative potential surrounding this coin. Extreme error possibilities are particularly compelling. Consider a hypothetical 1990 D cent struck on an incorrect planchet, perhaps one intended for a foreign coin or an experimental metallic composition. Such a coin would be entirely unique, likely never seen before in public circulation, and would immediately become a centerpiece for collector attention. Numismatic experts would examine its metallic content, strike characteristics, and microscopic details to verify authenticity. The rarity and uniqueness of such a specimen could theoretically justify extreme valuations, which is how rumors of coins worth tens of millions gain traction within collector communities. These scenarios, while largely speculative, illustrate the imaginative possibilities that elevate a small penny into an object of legendary intrigue. Methodology for assessing a 1990 cent involves both traditional numismatic techniques and modern scientific approaches. Professional grading services, such as PCGS and NGC, rely on visual inspection under magnification, evaluating factors like luster, strike definition, surface preservation, and color. Advanced techniques might include X-ray fluorescence to determine metallic composition or digital imaging to detect minute die anomalies. The combination of empirical measurement and expert judgment ensures that coins are accurately classified, and it provides collectors with confidence regarding authenticity and condition. This rigorous methodology is what allows certain coins to attain remarkable value, separating ordinary circulation specimens from those that capture historical, aesthetic, and economic significance. Collector strategies also play a critical role. Serious numismatists often search through thousands of coins to locate potential anomalies, employing techniques like magnification, lighting analysis, and die comparison. They might analyze the spacing of letters in Liberty, inspect the tiny figure of Lincoln in the memorial, or examine the edges for subtle planchet flaws. Patience and precision are key, as rare specimens may be buried among millions of ordinary coins. The excitement of discovery, combined with the potential for high value, motivates collectors to undertake meticulous searches, sometimes over decades, resulting in storied finds that circulate among enthusiasts and occasionally achieve headline attention. The cultural and historical resonance of the 1990 cent also enhances its appeal. Abraham Lincoln, enshrined in both the obverse portrait and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, serves as a symbol of leadership, unity, and perseverance. Every interaction with the coin is an engagement with history, reminding collectors that the objects in their hands are not mere currency but artifacts with a story. This symbolic value, while intangible, contributes to the overall allure and fascination surrounding rare specimens, particularly those that exhibit unique characteristics or extreme preservation. The interplay between historical significance and market speculation creates a layered narrative, where the coin is simultaneously a functional object, a historical artifact, and a potential investment vehicle. Numismatic publications often emphasize that while most 1990 cents are common, the extraordinary examples are what drive discussion, research, and market activity. Articles detail observed anomalies, track die variations, and provide auction records to establish benchmarks for rarity and value. Online forums extend this dialogue, allowing collectors worldwide to share discoveries, seek authentication, and debate valuation scenarios. These platforms contribute to the dynamic ecosystem in which coins like the 1990 cent achieve both factual and speculative significance. They also illustrate how the collector community functions as both a custodian of history and a market participant, ensuring that rare specimens are recognized, preserved, and valued appropriately. Historical comparisons further illuminate the narrative. Earlier coins, such as the 1909 SVB penny or the 1955 double die, set precedents for how rare pennies can attain legendary status. The 1990 cent, while minted in an era of mass production, shares the potential for similar fascination due to errors, anomalies, and high-grade preservation. Understanding these precedents allows collectors to contextualize the coin's significance, appreciate its potential rarity, and recognize why even a modern penny can command attention akin to coins struck over a century ago. This perspective is essential for both historical appreciation and informed market participation. Finally, the human element remains central. Collectors, historians, and enthusiasts invest not only money but also time, curiosity, and expertise. The thrill of discovering a rare 1990 cent, verifying its authenticity, and potentially achieving a high auction value exemplifies the deep engagement that defines numismatics. Stories of serendipitous finds, careful searches, and expert analysis abound, reinforcing the idea that coins are more than objects. They are conduits for history, human endeavor, and imagination. The hypothetical $90 million valuation, whether factual or mythic, serves as a symbol of what is possible when rarity, condition, and narrative converge, inspiring continued study, preservation, and appreciation. Auction scenarios for rare 1990 cents provide some of the most compelling insights into the coin's perceived value and the dynamics of the numismatic market. While most coins from 1990 circulate at face value, high-grade or error examples occasionally appear in auction catalogs, sometimes drawing significant attention. For example, imagine a 1990 cent graded MS-67 with a prominent doubled die and exceptionally sharp strike. The auction description would meticulously detail the coin's luster, strike clarity, die characteristics, and condition, emphasizing its rarity. Bidders, motivated by both historical interest and potential investment returns, may engage in intense competition, sometimes driving prices far above standard market expectations. These auction scenarios illustrate the interplay of tangible qualities, condition, strike, and anomalies, with intangibles such as narrative, provenance, and collector demand. Advanced error analysis becomes a cornerstone for understanding why certain 1990 cents are considered extraordinarily valuable. Numismatists often examine the coin under varying lighting conditions, magnification, and even digital imaging to detect doubled dies, repunched mint marks, or subtle variations in the Lincoln memorial. For instance, a double-struck coin might show overlapping impressions of the memorial columns or faint duplication in Lincoln's profile. Similarly, a repunched D mint mark could exhibit subtle shifts or secondary impressions visible only under careful inspection. These anomalies, while sometimes microscopic, are significant because they confirm that the coin deviates from standard production norms, transforming a common penny into a collectible specimen. The meticulous documentation of such errors forms the basis for expert authentication and underpins market valuations. Scientific examination techniques further enhance the study of the 1990 cent X-ray fluorescence (XRF) analysis, for example, can determine the precise metallic composition of a coin. Identifying deviations from the standard 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper. Unusual elemental ratios may indicate experimental planchets, misstruck coins, or even foreign metallic contamination, all of which can increase collector interest. Similarly, microscopic imaging can reveal die cracks, micro scratches, or planchet anomalies not visible to the naked eye. Such scientific tools allow numismatists to verify authenticity, establish provenance, and differentiate high-value specimens from ordinary circulation coins. In cases where a 1990 cent is suspected of being exceptionally rare, these techniques are indispensable for validating claims, particularly when astronomical valuations like $90 million are discussed. Market speculation surrounding the 1990 cent illustrates both the excitement and unpredictability of numismatics. Rumors of extreme valuations can drive collector enthusiasm, inspiring searches through bulk coins, estate collections, and secondary markets. This speculative element adds drama to the hobby, transforming routine coin collecting into a potential treasure hunt. Market behavior in these cases often follows psychological patterns, including fear of missing out, FOMO, rarity premiums, and narrative-driven demand. The perception of scarcity, even if unverified, can create spikes in interest and lead to higher prices for coins that meet certain desirable criteria, such as uncirculated condition, visible errors, or exceptional provenance. Collector psychology is also critical in understanding the allure of the 1990 descent. Enthusiasts often describe the thrill of discovery when a rare example is identified among common circulation coins. This excitement is compounded by the historical and aesthetic significance of the coin, connecting collectors with Abraham Lincoln's legacy and the artistry of the Lincoln Memorial design. Emotional investment in the hunt, combined with the intellectual satisfaction of identifying anomalies and verifying authenticity, drives engagement far beyond the coin's intrinsic monetary value. In essence, the 1990 descent exemplifies the interplay of historical appreciation, aesthetic enjoyment, and speculative ambition that defines serious numismatics. Comparative analysis with other high-value pennies provides further perspective. For example, the 1943 copper cent, the 1955 double die, and the 1969 S double die are among the most iconic in U.S. numismatic history. While the 1990 descent does not yet have the documented sales or historical notoriety of these older rarities, it shares the potential for exceptional value through modern-era coins, high-grade preservation, and extreme anomalies. By placing the 1990 descent in this broader context, collectors can appreciate both its historical continuity and its modern relevance, recognizing how even recent pennies can achieve legendary status under the right circumstances. The role of grading services cannot be overstated. Professional grading establishes a standardized assessment of condition, strike quality, and surface preservation, providing buyers and sellers with a common framework for evaluating value. For a 1990 descent, grading might involve multiple expert reviewers assessing luster, contact marks, strike depth, and planchet integrity. Coins achieving high grades, such as MS67 or above, are exceedingly rare, particularly when coupled with significant minting errors. The credibility provided by professional grading often directly influences market prices, especially in high-end or speculative scenarios. Coins authenticated and graded by respected services command higher premiums and are more likely to attract competitive bidding at auction. Another fascinating aspect of 1990 descent collecting is the study of mint production logs and die records. These documents, maintained by the Denver Mint, provide insights into production quantities, die rotations, and maintenance schedules. By analyzing these records, numismatists can identify which dies produced specific varieties, estimate the frequency of particular errors, and assess the likelihood of rare specimens existing in circulation. Such research underscores the scholarly side of numismatics, where meticulous historical investigation intersects with market evaluation and aesthetic appreciation. Collectors also engage in comparative analysis, examining large samples of coins to detect subtle variations. Differences in die wear, strike pressure, or planchet composition can indicate unique production runs or errors. For example, a slight doubling in the date, or a subtle shift in the mint mark may only appear in a few coins among millions struck. Recognizing these distinctions requires patience, expertise, and a keen eye, but the payoff can be extraordinary, as even a minor anomaly can transform an ordinary penny into a highly sought-after collector's item. Finally, the 1990 D cent illustrates. When contemplating the 1990 D Lincoln cent as a coin of potentially astronomical value, one must consider hypothetical scenarios where multiple rare characteristics converge. Imagine a single penny, struck in pristine mint state condition, with a flawless MS-70 grade, exhibiting a pronounced double die on the obverse, a subtle off-center strike, and a repunched Denver Mint mark. Such a coin would represent a convergence of multiple anomalies, each individually rare, but collectively extraordinary. While no verified specimens have ever sold at such extreme valuations, numismatic theory suggests that a coin embodying all these factors could, under the right circumstances, generate bidding interest in the tens of millions, reflecting both rarity and the narrative surrounding it. The allure of these hypotheticals illustrates the fascination collectors have with the perfect storm of errors and condition, where a single penny transcends its nominal value to become a near mythical artifact. Extreme rarity analysis focuses on both production data and survival rates. While the Denver Mint produced millions of 1990 D cents, anomalies are estimated to occur only in fractions of a percent of coins. Consider, for example, a double die that appears on 1 out of every 100,000 coins. Now combine that with an off-center strike occurring on only 1 in 50,000. The mathematical probability of a single coin exhibiting both errors is extraordinarily low, making it potentially unique. Numismatists carefully study these statistics, comparing historical production logs, die records, and circulation patterns, to estimate the likelihood of extreme anomalies. These calculations, while technical, help collectors assess both the potential rarity and the speculative value of a coin, fueling stories and theories about high-value specimens like the 1990 D cent. Historical comparisons provide additional context for understanding the significance of modern pennies. The 1909 SVB Lincoln cent, the 1955 double die, and the 1943 copper cent each achieved legendary status because of rarity, error, or historical circumstance. By examining these precedents, collectors can contextualize the 1990 D cent within a continuum of numismatic intrigue. While the 1990 D is a product of mass production and modern minting technology, the principles that make older coins valuable, rarity, condition, and anomalies, apply equally here. The comparison highlights the enduring appeal of Lincoln cents, regardless of era, and underscores how even modern pennies can achieve extraordinary interest and potential market value under unique circumstances. Valuation storytelling combines objective analysis with imaginative speculation. For example, one might construct a narrative around a hypothetical 1990 D cent discovered in a forgotten coin roll, exhibiting perfect luster, an extreme double die, and a subtle off-center strike. A professional grading service authenticates the coin as MS-70, confirming its pristine state. Auction houses present the coin with a detailed provenance, documenting its journey from the Denver Mint to discovery. Collectors bid fiercely, motivated not only by rarity and condition but also by the compelling story attached to the coin. Even if the $90 million valuation is hypothetical, the scenario illustrates how narrative, documentation, and empirical characteristics converge to elevate a coin's perceived worth, creating excitement, speculation, and cultural fascination. Scientific analysis continues to play a key role in such valuation stories. Modern tools like X-ray fluorescence, XRF, and high-resolution digital microscopy allow numismatists to verify metal composition, detect subtle anomalies, and examine die characteristics in ways impossible decades ago. For a hypothetical extreme value 1990 D cent, these tools might reveal trace deviations in copper plating thickness, zinc purity, or die alignment that further distinguish the coin from ordinary examples. The combination of scientific verification, visual inspection, and professional grading provides a robust framework for assessing both authenticity and potential market value, lending credibility to even the most speculative narratives. Collector psychology remains central to understanding the fascination with high-value 1990 D cents. Humans are drawn to rarity, story, and the possibility of discovery. The idea that a common penny could, under extraordinary circumstances, be worth millions creates a sense of excitement and engagement that transcends ordinary collecting. This psychological dimension drives both research and market activity, encouraging collectors to meticulously examine rolls of coins, track anomalies, and engage with the broader numismatic community. It also reinforces the dual role of coins as both functional currency and symbolic artifacts, bridging everyday experience with historical and imaginative engagement. Auction presentation and marketing are also critical in extreme valuation scenarios. High-profile coin auctions carefully craft descriptions that emphasize rarity, condition, historical context, and unique characteristics. photographs, magnified images of anomalies, and detailed provenance narratives create an immersive experience for bidders. In the case of a 1990D cent with multiple rare features, the auction house may present it as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, even if the extreme valuation is hypothetical. The combination of empirical attributes and storytelling transforms a simple penny into a highly desirable collectible, illustrating how perception, narrative, and documented rarity interact to shape market behavior. Comparative rarity analysis often involves looking at population reports from professional grading services. For example, if only a handful of 1990D cents are graded MS-70 with certified doubled dies, these coins immediately become focal points for collector interest. Detailed examination of die records, mint production logs, and circulation patterns can reveal potential clusters of rarity, helping collectors anticipate which coins may be most significant. Such analysis requires patience, access to specialized resources, and a deep understanding of numismatic principles, but it can yield remarkable insights into potential extreme value specimens. Finally, the 1990D cent serves as a case study in the intersection of history, art, technology, and human imagination. Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse provide enduring cultural resonance, while the technical precision of the Denver Mint ensures consistency and quality. The potential for errors, anomalies, and high-grade preservation creates a landscape where a single coin can transcend ordinary expectations, inspiring both scholarly study and popular fascination. Whether considering practical valuations, hypothetical multi-million-dollar scenarios, or the imaginative allure of rarity, the 1990D cent exemplifies the richness and complexity of modern numismatics, demonstrating that even the smallest objects can carry profound significance, both historically and economically. As we explore the intricate details of the 1990D Lincoln cent, one of the most fascinating aspects is the cataloging of errors and variations. Numismatists rely on meticulous records to track even the smallest deviations from standard minting. Doubled dies, die cracks, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, and planchet flaws are systematically recorded in specialized catalogs, providing a roadmap for collectors seeking rare specimens. For the 1990D cent, each category of error presents unique opportunities for discovery and valuation. A doubled die may appear on the date, on the lettering, or even in the intricate details of Lincoln's coat or the columns of the Lincoln Memorial. Each variation is documented, photographed, and referenced, creating a scholarly framework that supports both collector enthusiasm and market valuation. Die cracks are another area of intense study. During production at the Denver Mint, repeated strikes can stress the dies, creating hairline fractures that transfer onto the coin's surface. These cracks, often appearing along the rims or across Lincoln's profile, are subtle but significant. Some die cracks are minor and barely affect collector value, while others are dramatic enough to distinguish the coin as part of a limited production anomaly. Observant collectors often use these cracks to trace specific die rotations, identifying patterns that can help determine rarity and authenticity. The presence of a significant die crack on a high-grade 1990D cent could enhance its market appeal substantially, especially when combined with other desirable traits. Off-center strikes are particularly intriguing for modern collectors because they create visually striking coins that defy ordinary expectations. A 1990 D cent struck slightly off-center may show a portion of the Lincoln Memorial missing or partially overlapping the edge of the coin. Severity is measured in percentages, with minor offsets often overlooked, while dramatic misalignments create coins that are instantly recognizable and highly sought after. The interplay of artistic distortion and technical anomaly captures both the imagination and the practical attention of collectors, highlighting how modern pennies can still produce visually and historically fascinating results. Repunched mint marks, RPMs, provide yet another layer of rarity for the 1990 D cent. At times, the mint mark may have been applied imperfectly or reapplied during production, resulting in subtle doubling or misalignment. Collectors carefully examine the area beneath and around the D to detect secondary impressions, sometimes visible only under magnification. Coins exhibiting pronounced RPMs are highly collectible because they reflect the mechanical realities of minting and are often produced in extremely limited quantities. In the context of speculative valuation, a 1990 D cent combining a repunched mint mark with other anomalies, such as a doubled die or off-center strike, could theoretically be considered one of the most extraordinary specimens imaginable. Scientific approaches further enhance the cataloging and verification process. Advanced imaging, including high-resolution digital microscopy, allows numismatists to examine fine details such as die polish lines, micro-scratches, and surface anomalies that indicate specific production conditions. X-ray fluorescence, XRF, analysis can detect slight variations in zinc and copper composition, which may signify experimental planchets or unusual production runs. By combining visual inspection with scientific analysis, experts can authenticate rare coins, verify error types, and provide robust documentation that supports both scholarly study and market confidence. These tools are invaluable in a world where hypothetical valuations, sometimes in the tens of millions, capture the imagination of collectors and investors alike. Auction speculation for extreme 1990 D cents continues to generate intense interest. Imagine a coin presented at a prestigious numismatic auction, described as potentially one of kind, with certified MS-70 grade, a dramatic doubled die, off-center strike, and repunched mint mark. Auction catalogs would include detailed photographs, magnified images, and historical context linking the coin to production anomalies at the Denver Mint. Bidders would analyze the coin, considering both empirical rarity and narrative appeal, potentially driving prices to unprecedented levels. Even if a $90 million valuation remains hypothetical, the exercise illustrates how narrative, rarity, and condition converge to create the market environment in which collectors operate. Comparative studies with other modern pennies highlight the unique position of the 1990 D cent coins, such as the 1995 W penny, the 1983 doubled die, and the 1982 copper-rich variety have all demonstrated that modern minting can produce extraordinary collectible specimens. These comparisons provide a framework for assessing potential rarity, value, and collector interest in the 1990 D cent. By situating it within this broader context, numismatic. As we delve further into the valuation of the 1990 D Lincoln cent, it is essential to consider the full spectrum of potential scenarios, ranging from the most common circulation coins to the hypothetical extreme value specimens. The vast majority of 1990 D cents remain in ordinary circulation, exhibiting minor wear, toning variations, and typical surface marks. These coins hold nominal value, largely determined by condition and the presence or absence of visible anomalies. However, as one moves along the spectrum toward uncirculated coins, the interplay of condition, error type, and provenance creates a complex valuation landscape. Coins graded MS-65 to MS-70, particularly those exhibiting doubling, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks, occupy the highest tiers of interest and market potential. Consider the hypothetical scenario of a perfect storm, 1990 D cent, MS-70 grade, pronounced doubled die, off-center strike of 40%, repunched Denver mint mark, and flawless luster. Such a coin, if authenticated by a recognized grading service, would likely be considered unique, or nearly unique. Auction houses would emphasize not only the physical attributes but also the historical and cultural significance of the coin. The narrative might include production details from the Denver Mint, rarity analysis from numismatic catalogs, and potential comparisons to legendary pennies such as the 1955 double die or the 1943 copper cent. While the $90 million valuation remains speculative, this thought experiment illustrates the convergence of factors that could theoretically generate extraordinary market interest. Market comparisons further illuminate the potential significance of the 1990 D-cent coins like the 1983 double die, the 1995 W West Point penny, and rare 1982 copper-rich pennies demonstrate that even modern coins can achieve remarkable collectability. These examples show that anomalies, combined with exceptional preservation and limited numbers, can elevate otherwise ordinary coins to iconic status. Collectors and investors use these historical benchmarks to estimate the potential value of extreme 1990 D specimens, considering both empirical data and market psychology. By examining these precedents, one can appreciate how even a relatively recent coin can enter the realm of legendary rarity under the right conditions. Scientific and technical examination remains central to validating extreme value coins. X-ray fluorescence, XRF, analysis, high-resolution digital microscopy, and dye pattern analysis allow experts to confirm metal composition, detect minute anomalies, and verify the uniqueness of a specimen. For the 1990 D-cent, such techniques can reveal subtle irregularities in the copper plating, zinc content, or dye alignment, distinguishing a coin from millions of ordinary examples. Professional grading, combined with scientific verification, forms the foundation for both credible valuation and collector confidence, particularly when speculative high valuations are discussed. Collector psychology continues to drive market behavior and perception. The thrill of discovery, the intellectual satisfaction of verification, and the emotional resonance of owning a potentially unique coin create strong engagement. The combination of historical narrative, aesthetic appeal, and speculative potential elevates the 1990 D-cent beyond ordinary circulation coinage. Even when extreme valuations are hypothetical, the possibility that such a coin could exist motivates collectors to search rolls, examine hoards, and participate in auctions, reinforcing the dynamic ecosystem of modern numismatics. Auction strategies for extreme specimens involve meticulous presentation, high-resolution photography, detailed descriptions of dye anomalies, and narrative context connecting the coin to historical production practices are all used to maximize perceived value. In the case of a 1990 D-cent with multiple anomalies, auction houses might present it as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, emphasizing rarity, grade, and potential uniqueness. Bidders, aware of historical precedents and the speculative allure of extreme rarity, may engage in competitive bidding, sometimes driving prices far above conventional expectations. These auction scenarios demonstrate how narrative, empirical data, and market psychology intersect to shape the modern coin market. Comparative analysis across modern pennies further contextualizes the 1990. The stories of legendary finds bring a human dimension to the narrative of the 1990 D Lincoln cent. Even though the coin was produced in the millions, there are accounts of individual coins discovered in unexpected circumstances that ignite collector excitement. Consider a scenario in which a coin dealer, sorting through a bag of rolled cents, uncovers a 1990 D with unusually sharp relief, a subtle off-center strike, and faint doubling in the date. The excitement is immediate. Such a discovery prompts careful magnification, verification, and potentially third-party grading. This moment of discovery captures the essence of numismatics, the intersection of chance, observation, expertise, and imagination. The thrill of finding a rare specimen among common circulation coins underscores the ongoing fascination with modern pennies, particularly those like the 1990 D cent, which carry both historical and speculative appeal. High-value auction case studies provide insight into how extreme examples of modern pennies are presented, evaluated, and ultimately sold. While no verified 1990 D has reached the speculative $90 million mark, other modern coins, such as the 1955 double die or the 1943 copper cent, serve as instructive analogs. In these cases, meticulous auction descriptions, professional grading, and narrative framing played pivotal roles in achieving high prices. Auction catalogs detail condition, anomalies, historical context, and provenance, sometimes accompanied by high-resolution photographs, dyed diagrams, and comparative analysis with similar coins. These case studies illustrate the mechanisms by which rarity, condition, and narrative converge to create extraordinary market interest, and they provide a framework for understanding how a hypothetical extreme value 1990 cent could be treated in the market. Meticulous grading discussions are central to understanding the 1990 cent's potential value. Professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC examine coins under magnification, evaluating strike clarity, surface preservation, luster, and the presence of anomalies. Grades range from MS60, indicating uncirculated but with minor imperfections, to MS70, denoting a flawless specimen with no visible defects even under magnification. For coins with errors, doubled dies, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, grading becomes even more nuanced. Specialists must consider how anomalies affect the coin's integrity, whether they enhance or detract from collectability, and how they interact with the coin's overall condition. A 1990 cent graded MS70 with multiple anomalies would immediately become a focal point of collector attention, representing the pinnacle of both condition and rarity. Ultimate speculative scenarios push the narrative of the 1990 cent into imaginative territory, where a single coin could theoretically achieve multi-million-dollar valuations. Consider a coin with perfect MS70 grade, dramatic doubling on the date and lettering, an off-center strike of 50%, and a repunched Denvermint mark, preserved in original mint luster and with traceable provenance from production to discovery. Auction houses would highlight its uniqueness, creating an intense competitive environment among collectors, dealers, and investors. While such valuations remain theoretical, they demonstrate the potential for extraordinary convergence of rarity, condition, anomaly, and narrative in determining perceived market value. These scenarios underscore the fact that numismatics is as much about storytelling and imagination as it is about empirical characteristics. The 1990 cent also illustrates as we arrive at the culmination of the story of the 1990 Lincoln cent, it becomes clear that this small coin embodies a remarkable intersection of artistry, history, technology, and human fascination. The narrative of the coin is multi-layered. It is at once a utilitarian object, a historical artifact, a subject of scientific scrutiny, and a potential symbol of extreme rarity and speculative value. Every detail, weight, composition, strike, mint mark, and anomalies contributes to a holistic understanding of the coin's significance. While the theoretical valuation of $90 million remains an imaginative extreme, it serves as a lens through which we explore what makes certain pennies extraordinary, even in a modern production context. The final market synthesis draws together the patterns observed throughout numismatic history and contemporary trends. Standard 1990 cents in circulated condition remain worth face value, while uncirculated coins, particularly those graded MS65 or higher, can command hundreds of dollars. Error coins with doubled dies, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks elevate interest dramatically. When multiple rare characteristics converge, hypothetical valuations enter the millions, highlighting how rarity, condition, and narrative interact to produce extraordinary collectability. Auction houses, professional graders, and collectors all contribute to this dynamic ecosystem, ensuring that the market is both empirical and narrative-driven. Extreme rarity storytelling completes the imaginative arc of the 1990 cent. Envision a scenario where a single coin embodies the perfect combination of MS70 condition, a dramatic doubled die, a repunched Denvermint mark, and a significant off-center strike. Once authenticated and professionally graded, this coin becomes the centerpiece of high-profile auctions, drawing global attention. Collectors, dealers, and investors engage with both the tangible qualities of the coin and the narrative constructed around its discovery, preservation, and potential uniqueness. Even without a verified $90 million sale, the story demonstrates the theoretical heights of numismatic fascination and the profound cultural, historical, and financial interest a single modern penny can inspire. Hypothetical collection scenarios further enrich the narrative. Imagine a private collector assembling an unparalleled Lincoln cent collection spanning 1909 to 2025, including all historically significant coins and modern anomalies. Within this collection, the 1990 D cent with extreme characteristics becomes the crown jewel, admired for its condition, historical